Again, we continue to see a high number of petty thefts, people's wallets. Lock your cars, you guys.
And what's up with that?
I don't know what's up with that.
I'm surprised they haven't seen anyone or anything.
No, and there's more and more, talk on social media about game cameras, security cameras.
Has there been any, I know it's been cars, has it been garages?
Mm-hmm.
Any homes?
Yep. I don't know about any homes, but I know cars and garages.
Just unlocked? No break-ins?
No break-ins or
So
something.
about 10 years ago, 2010 or so, we went through a rash of these as well, back when people were on hard times, and I think a big part of it is just that, exactly that. People are struggling.
But what, I mean,
Which is strange because there's, everywhere you go, when we went over to Kalispell a week ago, every restaurant was closed inside except for Chick-fil-A because they don't have enough people to work.
yep.
Yeah.
Everywhere I know is looking for people to hire.
Yeah.
And if not, they close early. Like, they won't they don't stay open past 4.
Yeah.
They're all closed.
And I was wishing we'd be online tonight to talk about that, because that's one of the things I want to talk about in my mayor's report. It's crazy. But it's happening in Fairfield, it's happening in Dutton.
Well, log cabins closed Monday and Tuesday because they can't.
Well, I meant the petty thefts.
Oh, yeah.
It's even happening across the bench.
Yeah.
So it's not,
Folks from Fairfield, from Great Falls or Helena or somewhere coming into easy pickings.
But like I said, this happened.
yeah.
We had very similar police report 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. So,
Why is Pastor,
no idea.
I don't either, but I'm not going to take the call. So yeah, be diligent. And I know more and more people are putting up either game cameras or some type of motion camera and things along those lines. But I would tell you, if you're out and about and you see something that doesn't look right, report it. Stop and ask, talk to them, you can tell
Yeah.
what they're up to, if they're, what their, where their mindset is in that, so. See what they have to say. What does Steve D want now? Oh, okay, Steve's on his way down. Good luck. Build an ark, baby. I will tell you that our July report will be much more, there's more on it than 2 items. City judge, this is a couple months, this is May and June combined. So criminal cases were eight misdemeanors. If it's a misdemeanor, it is a city crime. If it's a felony in Choteau, if it's a misdemeanor, it's handled by our criminal county attorney. If it's a felony, it goes straight to the county attorney. Just so, throw that out there at you. And then in June, he had 4 cases. 1 was a felony, so that went to the county. 3 were misdemeanors. 3 assaults, or 3, their insurance stop sign. It's got the things on there for what they were. And he has 11 other hearings as well. So he's caught us back up with his reports. Hattersley Marine, which is our civil city attorney, you can see the breakdown for his bill there. So he was under his budgeted amount for the month. And much to his chagrin, Jody hasn't let him off the hook yet, so he's still doing our stuff. They're working to find somebody to help us out on the civil side, but for the time being, Jeff will continue to do it.
So he's not going to be doing it anymore?
No, he's now the city attorney for the city of Great Falls. He left my insurance agency too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. High and dry. I got a
So now
call.
we're looking, are we going to put bids out again like we did before? Or RFPs or whatever we
We
did
may, but I think that Jordan Crosby
from his office?
is going to step up and offer to do it at the same rate Jeff
Is
doing it.
that Jordan from MMIA?
Yes.
Okay. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
She does a good job.
Yeah, so Jeff is gonna have lunch with her, on this week and talk to her. And worst case scenario, I had a conversation with the outgoing city attorney in Great Falls, who's going into retirement to be a full-time grandma. She said she may, if Jordan didn't want to do it, she said she may help us out as well.
Okay.
Okay. So would Jordan be doing it as an independent
She
contractor?
do it
or
through their
MMLA?
firm, no, through their firm,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I know that Cascade County, or City of Great Falls farms out a bunch of their stuff to that firm as well on the civil
Okay.
side. And you can see our civil stuff, it's mostly verbiage review and things along those lines. It's, now that we've got some things out of the way, it's not the heavy lifting.
It's boring.
It is. Councilman D's coming through the, is that unlocked yet?
Either he is or Mike is. There he is.
Let's see, I saw him pull up.
Yeah, the outdoor dogs.
Can't believe you walk in here with that shirt on.
Jim, our criminal attorney's got everything in front of us. You can see her case out there, or her load out there, dating back to last year. So basically, her cutoff would have been the 6/29, everything else on below the 6/29, 2021 will go to the next fiscal year.
Mr. Mayor, on the note of that,
Huh?
on the note of that report,
Yep.
is there any way to get the report more similar to what the civil attorney?
I would be up for that, and I'll have a conversation with her. I would like to see her break down her caseload for us better as to how many hours she spends dealing with these. We
I
pay,
recognize that there's a little bit of a.
oh, there's a huge discrepancy. I mean, Jim gets over almost 3 times what the civil guy gets, and this is what we get for a report, and this is what we get on the other side. So just for some transparency, I will reach out at the, and let her know that it's been asked for better, some more clarity to that. Mike must have washed away in the, is his truck gone?
I don't know.
I think
Where
it
was
is.
he parked?
He was on the far side of the.
He was all the way down
That was
there.
running.
He's gone.
He's gone.
It's not there now.
He left his
Wasn't-
windows open tempting the rain.
Limbs down everywhere.
Yeah, Mike's report in front of you guys, influence, water is
Might get a spike.
lowest it's ever been documented coming into the wastewater system.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's weird that you're at the lowest that is coming in, but you look that we pumped 13, almost 14 million gallons of water, metered about 800,000 gallons of water, and we're doing about 220-some thousand gallons of water through we're losing water.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And as such, they've been out cleaning sewer lines. Because as the groundwater drops, what used to infiltrate it doesn't infiltrate it now.
What's our,
They've got sludge drying out there, and they'll haul it up to North Montana Joint Refuge District to be buried here shortly. Our new DEQ permits were issued. 9 comments were submitted and responded to by the DEQ, and we had no adverse comments on that. All of our water well systems are coming back good. We've not had any significant water repairs since the last report. No more whack-a-mole for a while.
I have a question on our,
Yeah.
going back to our metered. Do we have gray water drainage? I mean, does all of our gray water go into the sewer? Or do we
Yeah,
have?
it's supposed to.
It's supposed to. But we don't really know because we haven't dug up most of our services.
Technically, we haven't. Some have been sleeved, some haven't been sleeved. But part of the fact is that the water that they're pumping may not even be making it to point B.
Right.
It could be leaking out on the delivery side.
Well,
That's-
we're missing 6 million gallons,
Yeah.
but then I guess my question is if we're metering 800,000, and I mean, a lot of that's probably, maybe half of that is watering your lawns, but even if it's half, we're still losing 140,000, or 1.4 million gallons.
Yeah, we're losing a ton of water.
And if that's coming out of the sewage system, that makes me a little,
Well, it's not coming out of the sewer system, it's coming out of the wastewater system.
well, yeah.
Or, I mean, out of the delivery, it could be out of the delivery system.
Could be,
It could be either one, and that's why the wastewater plans and the delivery plans are so important to get done, so we can
Yeah.
try and figure that out. I mean, it goes back to affordable housing or any housing in Choteau. We're not gonna be able to have any kind of expansion or additional housing if our water system
it's not up to.
is not up to snuff. If our underground infrastructure can't hold up to what's above ground, we're in trouble. Groundwater levels recorded at the City of Choteau test well on July 1st were similar to mid-August of the last 5 years. so 45 days ahead of schedule. And that being said, that's why Public Works came and asked for the water restrictions. Do we need to have them? Probably not, but it was a matter of wanting the water, having the water, not needing it, then needing the water, not having it. If we had water like this and we had another Gunther situation, we'd be hurting, for sure.
Well, and to your point about new people moving in, businesses moving in, if we run out of water, it'll be years before we can recover it and have folks move back in.
And you can see in here that currently we are in no danger of running out of water.
What was the timeline on developing that new oil system?
It's part of the new plan.
What was the timeline on it, do you remember?
It would be within the next 18 to 24 months
I was gonna say a year
to
and a half,
acquire
2
and go
years.
I
from
knew it
there.
wasn't this year, I just couldn't remember if it was like a year or two, or if it was like 5 years.
And that could be sped up to, if we're successful with some of our grant dollars, they may have to be expended in a matter of 24 months.
Well, we could move it to the top of the list rather
Yeah.
than second or third.
The groundwater well monitored by the Department of Natural Resources upstream from Choteau has dropped 5.3 feet in the last month. And it is 4 feet lower than it was for this normal time of year in the past 5 years as well. Wells monitored by DNRC in town have dropped 1 to 1.5 feet in the past month, much ahead again of mid-typical August. I had a sand point under my house that I irrigated with. Not happening. It was only 7 feet deep. One of my backyard's over 14. What's that?
Is it dry now?
I can pull it dry. I can't recharge it fast enough. And I've changed from a 2-horse to a 1-horse to a 3/4 horse. And I can drain it dry.
Because yesterday I watered fine.
Yeah.
The sand went, but-
I watered my yard last night with my other wet sand point, which is 16 feet, but I can still outdraw it too.
That well standing in my new property, that water in it hasn't dropped much, but there's always high water right there.
Yeah.
I think it's probably dropped 3 or 4 inches is all.
And DNRC was just out doing data collection because I see they were in my backyard. I gave them access to my well in my backyard for their sand point stuff and like that, so. On the streets, second round of potholes have begun, been grading alleys and filling alleys. Milling the streets in preparation for chip sealing has been completed. We'll finish grade and compact them prior to chip sealing, tentatively scheduled for August 12th to 13th. We are at the beck and call of our contractors and oil right now, trying to get oil. Mike's talking to the county about getting us some extra help too. We might ask to borrow a couple dump trucks and a couple drivers for 2 days so we can make sure we get through it all.
I hadn't asked him, the only place in all of Choteau that has grass moving on the road is by my house. And I had asked Mike, I'm like, can we like,
You talking that Y there?
yeah, I'm like, wow.
I was surprised they didn't take it out of there, but
Well, and I called him the day they were doing that, and I said, can you do something with that? And I figured he was just gonna maybe try and chip seal over, I don't know what he was gonna try and do.
I'll ask him tomorrow.
Okay.
It's been crazy listening to Mike. We actually mailed rocks, chips to Butte to be sized and sampled to make sure that they were of good quality because the first batch we sent down was not. You can see where the streets to be chipped in 2021 are, and all of those that are red are now blue because they have been milled.
They've been milled.
Not all of them. That main drive, 7th.
Oh yeah, in front of us is not.
Yeah, like in front of your house is,
Not done. Yeah,
most of the rest of them I think are done.
yeah. They do the normal stuff, and I thank Colin Leitner and Dave Duffner. Dave was on call on Sunday when the big tree limb fell over here on 287, and I got a hold of him, and then Colin Leitner grabbed a chainsaw, put his kid in the car in a Suburban with the video on the flare, and came out and helped us. We had it cleaned up in about 25 minutes. Any other questions for Mike? I'll find out on your road in the morning.
No?
Jody's report. We are current with everything. We are in the process of budgeting, and I'll talk about that more in my report, but things are trucking along rather nicely here at City Hall. I'm going to skip over the council and mayor and come back to that, but we'll do the zoning and building permits that have come in. VSW Property, Terry 2, Bill and Donna West, Montana Quality Living, Kim and Kristen Peach, Gwen Stoltz, Chad Obama. I know he's got several more on his desk. And I've written a letter to Kyle saying, Kyle, when you come to inspect these things, reach out to the property owner so they know you're here.
Please.
Please. And we'll see how that works out. If not, it's something we will address down the road. Trust me, it will be addressed down the road.
Good.
There's a copy of the revolving loan in here, and like we said, everybody, there's some that are in arrears, most everybody's current. We've had one that hasn't paid in almost 2 years, and they were in, and we made mention of that to them the other day. So hopefully that'll get caught up. Councilman Major, what's happening in your world? Wow.
I'm thinking hard, that just means my mind went blank. And I don't think I have anything at this point.
Okay.
Have we got a date from BNSF?
We do not have a date from BNSF.
We're gonna have like a year.
Well, they said it would be this year.
I'm like,
That'd be
they're all
too-
sitting
that'd be too
there.
scheduled.
I saw where Columbia Grain says they're gonna bring truck trains back in, and that's why they're putting
They had
those.
one today.
Yeah, that's why they're putting those crossings back in, so that they can bring the trains in. They cleared the rail cars out to bring a crane in. They said they have to have a crane to put it in.
The BNSF inspector was out today when I was going to Conrad, and so when he comes out and does that, it means that they're bringing a load through that's more than just those 3 cars, so I'm hoping it's soon.
Yeah.
Because
So they-
he was out pressure sensing the rail.
Are we taking out the crossings at First Street?
The ones that on the deadlines are supposed to be coming out.
No, but so the ones over by like Jars, are those?
On
gonna
Third, they're gonna be replaced and
get
supposedly.
Replaced or taken out?
Replaced. That line's gonna go, the one line's gonna go all the way through to where it ends up behind the past Voorhees Lane there.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so the crossings for the track right next to Front Range Supply are supposed to get torn out. They're not
Yeah.
supposed to
No,
be
just one
crossings
of
in.
them.
What's that?
There's 2 that still go all the way through, but there's one that.
Right,
Yeah.
so the one right next to it is supposed to go away. There's only gonna be
And then
four
Two, gotcha.
four crossings. There's gonna be the 2 there at Jar, and then those first 2 to the west, coming from the west. The Columbia
The
Green
2
track
over
and then the
by
BNSF track.
2 by the sheriff's office.
Yeah,
Right.
those aren't on their list. It's just the ones on the asphalt.
But don't they come in from the south end?
Yeah. For the same with one down there by Alpine Touch. It's not, that one's been rebuilt and rehabilitated to the point where they're not worried about
Well,
it.
it doesn't get near the traffic. My big
You'd be
concern-
surprised the amount of traffic that goes that
Yeah, but
way.
compared to the 4-way stop, I sat
Yeah.
there for 20 minutes one day and I think I counted like 110 vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a traffic study taking place on Main Avenue right now, and you can see the little drive-over things that are there.
We almost need a signal for 3 months out of the year.
Yeah. Bite your tongue,
'Cause
Councilman.
yeah, you know what, I'm sorry.
I know.
I nearly got in 2 accidents going through, and I only went through that intersection twice today because people don't know how to use a 4-way stop.
Is power back on now?
Yeah, okay, bye.
Is power back on?
That was my mom.
Oh.
Everything's okay. Sorry.
Anything else?
No.
Councilman Howard, what is the fire department up to?
Fire department, we raised enough money from our fireworks sales to buy new boots for everybody.
Cool.
All right.
So that's what we're spending this year's money for. We're kind of, just still in the planning, but we kind of have a pretty good plan for our kitchen emergency generator plan, so generator will probably happen first.
Yep.
So we're kind of.
I will have a letter for the city council next, as an action item, to allow the fire department guys to move their fireworks stand next to the fire department, so that when the fire siren goes off, they don't have to shut down up on Airport Road and exfil to this fire station and then go back and reopen.
We do have it in there that we can have 2 in the city, and since.
I can't
Smith-
find anywhere there's a list of limited that's in there. It just says that they have to come petition the city and get permission.
I'll
If you can find it,
I'll go back and look, because I know we set it to 2.
Because Jody, Tom, and I were looking and we couldn't find anything in any of the ordinances or anything.
It was
like
an
that.
action item at one point. I'll go see if I can find it.
Mel, are you aware of anything like that?
No, I thought that I can't remember.
Okay. No.
I honestly think it was, but maybe I'm wrong.
Cool.
It does happen from time to time.
I haven't gotten any further with our ADA stuff. It's kind of down to, Tom did a good job, now it's down to kind of like, anybody that wants to help, it's probably gonna just be me and Mike going out, or Mike and I,
Yeah.
going out and putting prices to,
Synthesize.
kind of a budget, and then we could submit it as
Okay.
our final plan, I guess.
Okay. Thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Merja?
Couple of things. Well, actually, the one of them doesn't matter. I reached out to YMCA a couple weeks ago, looking at. I went through their stipulations and everything about youth centers, and with our closest one being over 80 miles away, we are potentially a good fit for them to have one. And there's a couple of places where one could go right now. So I am
Fireman, you want to read that?
waiting to hear back from them to see. Right now, they're going through the application I sent in, and they're possibly looking for an organization that would like to back it, because they aren't really keen on individuals. So
I know the feeling.
yeah, yeah, but they didn't say no up front, so that's
That's
good
not a
thing.
bad thing.
Yeah,
That's the Lutheran Church.
Okay.
That's why she called.
no, she's the Methodist
She-
pastor.
Oh, yeah, she is a Methodist one, Northwest Energy, but they had sparks and power lines and trees down in the alley behind their house.
Got it.
Well, with that rain,
Yeah.
not much is gonna burn, except the appliances.
What else you got going?
Is power
That's-
still out in town?
Power's still out according to Mike. We've got branches down all around town, he said.
Uh-huh, I believe it. That's all I've got. The other one can wait until I got more information.
Jody, I lost power. Imagine that. Councilman D.
Yeah, a few things. Yeah, just for transparency's sake, I've heard from a couple of folks in the Choteau community about dollar stores.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I just do want to clarify that not a lot the city council can do to affect that. My understanding is that any business could go into where the zoning change occurred. So, if I would be shocked if they can find the employees, but if they're not able to find employees and someone else decides to put a business in there, that wouldn't be something we'd want to prevent. And so from beyond that, though, there's not much that the city council can do aside from affecting zoning at this point.
Which building are we talking about?
A potential of a dollar store. Correct?
Yeah, that's what the email was about. That's what the letter, you referenced letters to the editor. Was it last week, Mal, or was it this week?
Last week.
Last week.
I got 2 emails.
Yeah.
I
Probably all
got
got
same
it.
too.
Yeah.
I got more than I can count. Plus
I-
visitors, plus phone
It's
calls.
probably
The big
proposed
ones.
down by the old feed plant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Along those lines, as far back before Jody, Jody's been here 13 years. In those 13 years, the city of Choteau has never issued business permits and said yes or no to a business coming within the community. We don't have the staff to issue business permits, to monitor business permits, other than those that require alcohol, which we are required by the state to issue. I can't see us getting into that regulation business of who comes and who doesn't go. If they decide to bring a dollar store to the community, the capitalistic system will decide whether it lives or whether it doesn't. I look around, and we were talking earlier, the Log Cabin, Rex's Deli, the Deli, John Henry's now, the Deli and Main Street Express having difficulties. I don't know how you're gonna staff a building like that, a facility like that, and let alone I don't know where you're gonna find a house for someone to live in to work there at this time. So it is a very, very volatile topic, and dollar stores, the dollar store company that has Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and Dollar General has now applied to the FDA for a medical director so that they could go into pharmacy. So there are, like I said, I've been inundated with people walking in here, people catching me in the store, catching me on the street. I could kill several trees with the paper of articles that have been sent to me about dollar stores and the demise of a community.
Yep.
Anything else?
I did have someone reach out to me about, they were throwing the idea around, it's very conceptual, about we need some sort of recreation facility, in addition to, like, instead of the gym at the school or the workout facility behind the library or behind the coffee shop, excuse me. Like a rec center, like a Heaven Cut Bank, something like that.
Why would fill that gap?
It certainly will, yeah. That's part of why I want to mention that there is some interest in the community. Just want to do a shout out to Matthew Haas, one of my scouts who went to National Youth Leadership Training.
Mhm.
I was the director of that course here at the end of June, and he did an awesome job and is taking that leadership back to our community. And so it's just.
And that's Joe and Lisa's son?
That's right. Yep.
Oldest son.
Yep, his eldest. Just want to give him a shout out because he's doing some cool stuff right now. That's all I've got.
Cool. My list of monthly correspondence is here, Mel, if you want to thumb through it. Thank you card from the 4-H folks. Thank you card from the Brooke and Spencer Richens for, the city stepping up and helping out through the 4th of July stuff. A letter from Governor Gianforte's office letting us know we did get $125,000 from a DNRC Renewable Resource Grant. And this will be to do our updated scope, schedule, budget, our MEPA checklist, and our ARPA certifications. We've not received those funds yet. A letter of non-compliance to some folks on the southwest side of town about keeping up their end of the bargain on a home occupation. I got an email from a local businessman wanting to, he posed some questions about making some changes and doing some feasibility studies into some housing stuff here, all of which are probably definitely needed. But everything that he asked for right now under our current zoning is not admissible, not allowable. Everything he wants to do is in areas that what he wants to do are not allowed. And as we begin to look at our zoning, you guys, we have to have the growth policy updated first because the growth policy has to support the underlying zoning changes. So that's where we're trucking along at right now. Councilman?
I overheard, so that something similar to the Gunther couldn't go back
It can't
in.
go back there.
Right, because it's not zoned right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was grandfathered in, but can't be rebuilt.
There's somebody who wants to do a feasibility study on the old hospital, making it 6 3-bedroom, 6 2-bedroom, 6 1-bedroom apartments. It's not zoned right.
It's not zoned
It's
right.
A zoning, A residential.
Residential A.
Is that what the Gunther is too?
No, Gunther's into a Main Street business.
Main
You could
Street
have a retail or an office exposure on the first floor and then multifamily above it, but you can't have a multifamily.
You can't
above it.
just have multifamily.
Nope. And I will tell you that there's been some heated conversations here at City Hall about new zoning versus old zoning. The old zoning was probably, well, there's no problem about it. It was definitely easier to get through and wade through. The new zoning is extremely restrictive. As we get ready to go, we're gonna have to look at how we wanna address that.
The problem with the old zoning though is that it wasn't restrictive, but it also didn't address anything.
No, but so we're gonna have to come up with a hybrid.
Right.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
And talking to Great West, we've got how many pages of zoning in here? Are you better off having a list of 15 things that you cannot do? Is Choteau a big enough community that it has to be sliced into all these different pieces of pies as to, this one you can have multifamily in, this one you can't, this is commercial, this is where you guys will be. Blue is government, this is industrial, and there's houses in this industrial area now that if they were to burn down, you couldn't put a house back there because residential housing is not allowed in the industrial area. You've got your business residential on Main Street, which is where the Gunther sits.
Central Business District on the north end of town.
On the north end of town, yep. And this is, these are things, this is up because of the housing meeting, but these are the things we're gonna have to look at and address, and I wanna do it in under 8 months. And I will tell you, the last time they did the growth plan, it took them 5 years, and I wanna do it in under 8 months. Because the longer we wait, the tighter things are gonna get. So, know that as we get closer, I started this afternoon going through our growth policy. There's a lot of it that's boilerplate because that's a combination city-county one that we can change in there. But anybody have any idea what the true population of Choteau is as of the 2019 last count?
1586.
1,789.
1894.
We gotta say 1900.
I was surprised. According to that number, we've outdone the growth projections to 2035 in our current growth plan.
What was the population of Choteau in 1950, 1960?
I'd have to go back and
I
look.
think it was over 2.
It was. We were a Class A school at one time.
Yeah, it was a lot younger. It was more people,
Yeah.
more younger people.
The average, the
family.
largest demographic in Choteau right now are the 50 to 59s,
Yeah.
followed by the 60 to 69s. You guys are enigmas.
We all are.
Yeah.
Not me.
Everybody on this side of the room is.
Uh,
Those of us that are under
Thanks,
40.
boss.
You're not under 40, Mark, I'm sorry, but the under 40 crowd in Choteau is,
Next to
Yep.
nine.
it's maybe 20%.
And here's the
Maybe.
goofy part. In looking at the data today, they figure there's 261 people in Choteau between 50 and 59 with a plus or minus of 81.
Wow.
So how, I mean,
That's only 30 or 40%.
I know, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. So I'm slowly getting through that. But I did respond to the gentleman about his stuff and give him an answer, and it's in here. There's a response to a local business owner about parking in front of his business. He was concerned because he thought people were blocking his business and with horse trailers and stuff, and I'm
All
like,
in into
going this way rather than Angle.
buttons.
None of our streets, other than Main Street, other than Main
Might have
Street.
been me, I'm sorry.
No,
It wasn't.
Okay, usually have trailer back there.
Maybe if you were parked by the liquor store, it might have been you, but anyways, that's, so I had a conversation with him about it and, explained to him, and then he wanted a handicap access parking spot in front of him, but he does not have a handicapped access curb and sidewalk, so he'll get through it.
Oh.
It's
I
the
guess
clock
you
shop.
get now.
Yeah, Arthur Clock Shop. And he was, he came in and he did it right. He came in and lodged his complaint as a business owner.
Was
and-
that before or after he lambasted everybody on Facebook?
It was after.
Okay.
Of course it was after.
Well-
Social media first. I have written and submitted a grant to the Northwest Farm Credit Services Rural Community Grant Program on behalf of the Choteau Volunteer Fire Department. I have letters of support from Jim and Sandy Hotchkiss and from Nels DeBrucker for a $5,000 grant to get them a, what did we figure would be, 60, how big a generator?
I think we were discussing that last, I think we're gonna go with an 18 kW.
There you go. And all the paperwork's done, everything was uploaded and submitted. It'd be a $5,000 grant to get these guys a generator. So in the event of a power outage, they'd have power like we here do tonight. And if they decide at some point in time, if we get it built up and get it taken care of to get where they have a kitchen, it could technically become a community shelter in the event of a prolonged power outage.
That'd be a good thing.
And then we could see Chef Steve Howard go at it with his pancake spatula.
Yep.
Couple letters here to landowners about their boulevard stuff, letters about dog complaints, and this one was in you guys' district, but I took care of it.
Is that the one that you talked to us about, talked to me about?
No, this is a different
Different
one.
one. That one is still good?
Yeah, so far so good.
So far, so good.
Yep.
The son of the dog owner is holding up his end of the discussion, it looks like.
On our ARPA grant for our water project, Mel, there were 300 plus applications submitted to the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation asking for more than 8 times the available funds. So, as we know, we're not only are we competing against the City of Fairfield, Dutton, Power Water Sewer, Greenfield Irrigation District for the county, for some funds from the county. There's a lot of folks out there looking for dollars. So DNRC is going through them, they'll put them together, and then the governor's got a task force of elected officials and such to review them and rank them, but ultimately it comes down to Governor Gianforte as to who gets them and who doesn't get them.
Can I just say, Mr. Mayor, on that point, that meeting that you had, I just want to appreciate the professionalism that you and our finance officer showed at that meeting, and just having the numbers, knowing the information. It sounded like instigated that meeting. In all sincerity, thank you, and thank you for providing leadership there.
There's no way we want those dollars to go back. Those dollars need to stay in the county and go from there. You guys can go. The weather's decent.
Very good.
You're good.
Okay.
And like I say, we'll reach out to you guys as soon as Jody has it put together. We'll track you down or get a hold of you over, and you can come pick up your stuff. Okay? Congrats.
Thank you for
Thank you.
your business and
Thank
yours.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the process.
Yeah.
chamber membership's free for the first year?
Yeah, your chamber membership's free.
One steak each.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be really tight.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't looked at the meeting minutes or anything like that, but so what to the rumors that a lot of these applicants are trying to save their city from being disincorporated?
I haven't heard of that rumor at
Yeah, I
all.
haven't heard that one.
No, and I was at an MMIA regional meeting last week in Great Falls, and I never entered anybody's conversation.
Okay. Well, and that's why I'm asking the question, is that was asked of me, and I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Well, the incorporated communities in Teton County aren't,
That's Dutton and Power.
yeah, they're, well.
No, it's just
Dutton and
Power.
Fairfield.
Are
They're not near disincorporated, neither of them.
Yeah.
none of the three-
Well, I'm not talking about the three of us, I'm
Oh,
talking about the 800
Other,
other
Yeah,
applicants.
that's,
Fair enough.
wow. I shouldn't say I was surprised, but I should have figured that everyone's going after the piece of pot. We were lucky, we had a letter of support from the county commissioners. We were going into water restrictions, which was put in there. First time since August of 2000. And Great West has been on top of this stuff for us, so hopefully, something's better than nothing. I'd rather 10% of something than 100% of nothing. I was surprised to see GID at the table. And I guess some other folks went back to the county commissioners and had a conversation with them about that. I have not. But we shall see. I'm going to make a proclamation for April 29th, correct, Mel?
July 20th.
July 29th, yes. This will be Bud Olson Day for Choteau, it's his 100th birthday. And I reached out to the governor's office, and the Governor Gianforte and his staff are going to present him with the Spirit of Montana Award.
You might reach out to Kristen Embody. She did a page-long thing.
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. It just occurred to me that she did that
Yeah.
huge thing on him several years ago, maybe for his 90th birthday.
And so I've reached out to, I sent it to Tester, to Rosendale, and to Danes. Danes' office has reached out, and they're going to do something for him on the congressional record.
Awesome.
They wanted to talk to somebody who could update them on some of his achievements, so I sent a message to Clay Crawford. If I don't hear from him, I'll move on to my next victim and see if we can get that taken care of so that they have something. They're going to be up here on the 17th of August. August 7th, which will be after our next meeting, that Saturday night is Small Town Saturday night at the Voyagers game, and it's Choteau night. $5 general admission tickets. Didn't cost the city of Choteau anything to be involved with that. They called and wanted to know if they could throw our name about, and they're going to
That's
send.
Saturday?
It's a Saturday night, it's the 7th of August. They're going to send up some folks to hand out Voyager flyers and stuff like that, and they'll have swag to give away. $5 tickets if you're from Choteau.
Nice.
Sweet.
Scouts are doing a scout night on the 10th, I can't remember what night it is, but
Yeah.
don't.
Um,
Two games in August is okay.
Yeah,
I think the August 7th game, the entire crowd will be from Choteau.
I might go tomorrow.
I might actually go.
I'm actually leaning to go tomorrow night too. For August, we have our meetings on 3 and 17. But what I'm asking for you guys is if we could go August 3, August 17th, and August 31st, and we can adopt our budget on the 31st of August, and then do one meeting in September, like on the 14th.
Like do it in the middle of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
That would give us an opportunity to have our budget wrapped up before September, we'd open the public hearing on it on the 17th and close it the 31st and adopt it. Our budget, we are required by state law to have our mills by Monday the 2nd of August. So when we come in on the night of the 3rd, we would have our mills and we'd have an idea what we're looking at for levies.
Do you need a motion for that, or?
No, it's just,
It's not
we'll address it later on. I'm just telling you guys to see if, try and keep it open.
Yep, no, I think that works.
What else have we got here?
So August 31st is a Tuesday, which means that Labor Day isn't until the next Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, Labor Day's not,
That
is
works.
in September.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just, I had to speak
I asked
out
the same
loud.
question. I thought, why were you doing them? But it's not. We have reached a settlement with Ed Baumgartner. The documents have been signed and taken care of, and he has till July 30th to return the boulevard back to the original grade.
He has it done with the trees out and But
It's,
there's still a bunch of crap around there.
yes, he has till July 30th to have that out of there.
But I was surprised the trees were out.
We talked to Brian Hagee, and he came up and here's the thing. He's got till July 30th to return it to the grade it was prior to him putting the wall in. It was returned to grade so that they could grind the stumps out, but it is now not at grade. He has sloped it back. And he has a letter coming to him reminding him he has till July 30th to return it to the grade. He signed it, it's been filed.
I thought it was a pretty abrupt bank when he bought it.
No, it was, pictures over back there, it was just flat to the ground, to the curb.
Okay.
So, he'll be, and again, to get the stuff out of the street, he has till the 30th. And we reminded him in the letter that normally if you're gonna block a street, there's a permit to come get from the city to take care of that. So, we have been busier than heck here fetching complaints. It has been complaint central. Whether it's dogs, whether it's, does this person did this and I didn't, and it's crazy. There's a complaint form that we have put together that will be, is it up yet?
It is not yet.
That will go up on our website that people can fill out and bring it down to us. And this is for non-canine types of complaints. We borrowed this one from the city of Great Falls, and we did some research on it. The complainant will be kept anonymous up until a point that it violates a code that is enforceable by law, because then it becomes discoverable. So it's going to be a fine line we're going to have to walk. We got a complaint. We went out to do some investigation on it. The homeowner came out and talked to Tom, because it was Tom's job to go do it. And the homeowner was well aware who had filed the complaint. We got a complaint from a citizen about a neighbor threatening her. And that's been forwarded up to Jen to see if it meets any type of criminal thing. It's a weird thing out there right now, Mel.
I would have a question on keeping the name of the complainant anonymous. And my question would be, under what gives you the authority to do that? And my question is, because the complaints, once they're filed with you guys, they're a matter of public record. So,
And see, we had that conversation with several city attorneys and with MMIA.
yeah,
Certain complaints are considered anonymous up until the point where criminal charges are filed, and then it becomes a matter of public. 911 calls are public record. I know, it
Special
is.
offense reports are public records.
Yep.
Usually the only way a record can be kept.
We asked and we said, if someone comes in and gives us a written request for the complainant, what do we do? And I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when it happens.
I'd like to double check on that with my attorney, because, under Montana's constitution, something can only be kept private if, under very specific
Yep.
terms. One of them is like your employment record.
Yep.
That's, can be kept quiet.
Juveniles.
The big seven are,
Juvenile crime.
yeah, we went to the big
As long as it
seven.
doesn't rise to the level of a felony, if it rises to the
Yeah.
level of felony, it's open public record.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
The big seven are all the same way. It's a matter, that's kept confidential up until the point where it becomes a matter of the courts, and then it becomes public record.
yeah, I just don't know under what statute there's.
I don't know.
I don't remember which one it was, date, so this is, again, from the city of Great Falls, from their form. There is a statute that they cite
Okay.
for this process.
It's on the City of Great Falls website.
Yep, but we can,
Yeah.
What
I struggle with it.
yeah, I asked the same question for the record.
It's not a
no.
matter of
Yeah.
individual privacy.
Nope.
Because you've got no individual privacy if you're petitioning the city to take action.
right?
It's not a job performance thing.
No.
It's not a pending litigation between private entities sort of thing. And those are the three big.
Because ultimately, the person signs the complaint because it says right on there that by signing this complaint, you're willing to go to court, testify,
Yeah,
and hold us up.
yeah. I just suspect that if those complaints were not anonymous, it would take more of an irritation to make those complaints be filed. If the complainers knew that their names were just gonna be as public as the names of the.
I would
person
prefer that they
being
weren't.
filed.
I'm just following suit of what the legal beagles are telling us.
Would that maybe be something that Dan Clark would have a little?
No, Dan was at the meeting.
Was he at the meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And he referred to the two city attorneys that were sitting there, and they said, this is
Okay.
why we do it.
Yeah.
And they said, they don't understand it either, but this is what, it's been held up, or through an attorney general opinion or something.
Okay,
Because somebody said, what about a 911 call? That's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
yeah. I will look into it further because the notion of it not being public bothers me.
It bothers me too, because it makes us the heavy to do somebody else's work without them having facing any recourse. Unfortunately, in a small town like this,
And
most
it just
everybody knows
doesn't-
who's
It just doesn't
complaining.
seem like it falls under one of the things that we typically grant an expectation of privacy for,
Yeah.
like your work record.
I would love to find out more, because Steve and I had that conversation, and Jody was the same
Maybe
way.
you can shoot me a copy of the proposed form that would be, that's
Yep.
got that site in there
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, it just sounds,
So it's been amazing, and I've had people walk in here and want to file a complaint about a dog or a cat, hand them the form, tell them they got to sign it, and they walk away,
yep,
because they don't want, you know,
repercussions from their neighbors.
they don't want crap from their neighbors, but yet they want us to go in there and say we've got a complaint. Well, if I don't have a signed complaint, do I have a complaint? So,
Well, I've had two complaints in my neighborhood from people who say, well, I complained to you, doesn't that count as an official
No.
complaint? And I said, no, you'd have to go fill it out. And one of them, she said, I'm not willing to deal with the way my neighbor will treat me if it's an official
the
complaint.
ramifications of having that done.
Yeah, so,
It's been an interesting month. And hopefully we can, you know, we get this taken care of, we clear up the dollar store issue of us being able to stop it, which we can't, and that'll go away. You can't believe the number of calls, comments, paperwork, the decline of the community of the dollar store, that kind of stuff that comes in. And it frustrates Jody, frustrates Tom.
and I'll tell you what, they had a dollar store in Columbia Falls for 6 years. It went under.
Mhm. Ultimately, the capitalistic system will
Yeah.
show its way through, so. Other than that, I've been in the office here a lot more because I finally got caught up at the other place, trying to get the growth policy kind of narrowed out to where we can get to the zoning part of it. And we have to do a brief community needs survey, and I think Jerry Grabansk and I figured out there'll be 5 questions that will trigger an additional question or two, depending upon how they're answered, and go from there.
Sorry, so the Office of the Inspector General says it's not common to keep identity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They caught us off guard too, Mel, know that.
I've argued for it to not be.
I would prefer it wouldn't be,
Yeah.
again, but then again, it may prevent people from filing a complaint then too. No, there's certain ones who will file it just because they can. So,
It'd be nice if we could just talk to our neighbors.
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, it'd be nice
Yeah.
if, you know, it used to be you went and talked to your neighbor and you had a conversation. Now, I mean, I dealt with this online today. I had a member in a group who just blasted somebody. He said, well, I was just taking the next natural progression. I talked to him for an hour and a half, and he didn't see where what he did was wrong. I said, well, just go talk to the person. He said, I'm not going to talk to somebody who's hateful. I said, well, I have been for an hour and a half.
Exactly.
And he flipped out on me. And then I talked to him about, you know, anyway.
I had a lady.
Long story short, we just, everybody's right. And when you try and show them where they might be wrong, they get upset.
Yep. I had a lady sitting right where Steve is yesterday, talked to me for about an hour about how she cannot talk to her neighbors about dogs.
Mhm.
because it's a topic, she'd rather talk to them about children than their dogs,
Mm-hmm.
less volatile, so.
Well, the neighbor that we've had, I've tried twice to talk to her about her dog, and she just ignores me. And the dog has come after me twice on my property.
And I want to clear up another rumor. The city is not going to require anybody to hook to city water. We're going to ask that they want to hook to city water. And if it's in an area where we're doing water work, it would significantly be less expensive to do it then than to do it at a different time.
Mm-hmm. We can't force anybody onto city water.
But if cost is prohibitive otherwise, we could do it as part of other projects.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Well, and so, I guess going back to the pumping and the metering and the,
mhm.
so people are hooked to our sewer system but not to our water system.
Correct.
Yep.
And so.
149 homes
Well,
and 9 businesses.
I know, but that makes that 2.6 million gallons even more
Yes, it
concerning
does.
to me. Is we've got all this water and it's not coming out at the end. So where is it coming out?
It's going into the ground.
I know.
Like a terra firma.
I know.
And we found that the faster Spring Creek flows, the lower the water table in this community is. You know, they used to think that Spring Creek was the reservoir. Spring Creek's the drain. It's the
Really?
drain to the bathtub.
Yeah, keeps off for moving.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mel, you got anything for us not on the agenda tonight?
I do not.
Okay. With that, we'll adjourn till August 3rd.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Mel, do you want a copy of the
What is your-
settlement?